About 18 years ago, I was just learning Lectio Divina, the practice of learning how to meditate on Scripture rather than study it. In studying it, we analyze it in Lectio Divina, which means divine reading. We are not studying the Scripture. We are reading, but we are listening for God to speak to us. We're actually listening through our eyes. I happen to be reading in Mark 4, the parable of the sower, the soil, and the seed. And all of a sudden it hit me, this parable is likely to be with me the rest of my life. In fact, Jesus said, after he taught the parable, he said, if you don't understand this parable, how will you understand any parables? A couple of days ago, it dawned on me that the essence of this parable is actually the internal workings of prayer. The elements are the same as are the elements in what we call the Lord's Prayer, which is really not intended to be recited. Rather, it's another way of explaining the critical elements in a life of prayer. That is with one parable hanging with me for 18 years. I am now ready to take on the parable of the sower, the soil, and the seed, I believe, in a richer dimension, and consider making it the essence of my prayer life. I've got a long way to go. I have a lot to learn. I've got a fair amount of emotional hardpack that needs to be broken up still. I've got character flaws that are like rocks in my soil. I still have some thorns, things that I rely on to make myself feel better or avoid pain, and they still need to be rooted out. And as far as I can tell, the only way to go about this is by making that parable the essential core of my prayer life, not only early in the morning, where I typically try to get started, but also throughout the day. So as I go along, I'll probably be updating this video series a little bit with some of my thoughts on the parable of the sower, the soil, and the seed prayer. If we understand this parable, we are likely to begin to develop good soil, which in turn produces a great harvest.